everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're back at Crit City for the final race of the year. This one's a little bit different. I normally stream my rides, but I thought I might just record this one and throw some commentary over the top of it for something a little bit different. So with 10 seconds to go, we're about to get this one started. Let's get into it. Alright, we've got 8 laps of downtown Dolphin. Probably one of my favourite routes to race, short course routes. We've got a good field too today. I wasn't too sure about this one when I was looking at it earlier on, trying to look for the last race of the year. There were only about 8 or 10 people signed up. I thought, oh well, we'll see what happens. We'll crack into it, and if it doesn't work out, I'll find another race. But turns out we've got, we had roughly about 30 odd sign up. So it made for a good group. And I can see Mark Fenton, one of my AHDR teammates, is in the race too, so that's always going to make it a little bit interesting. Yeah, so we've got a good group here at the start, 23 in the front group here. And that's sort of a really nice number, not too big that it's too difficult to keep an eye on everything, and not too small that it's going to be harder than usual. So my goal here is to draft as much as I can. I can see my drafting numbers up in the top left hand corner there. So I've got my average, my max, and the current draft numbers. So I'm sitting at about 103, 104%, 91, 92, up the brick lane climb. And I really want to try and make this as efficient as possible. Now, even at the start, I can see that there's a few riders here that are pushing off the front, even after that first lap. And the first lap usually on the Crit City is, well, you know, if you're used to racing, if you know what racing in Zwift's like, they can vary. They can be real smash fest for the first 30 seconds, or they can be, you know, fairly easy in terms of how much effort you got to put out. This was moderate, but I noticed that there were some riders that were trying to push off the front after the climb. So that always makes me think that it's going to be a little bit of a spicy, interesting race. We come into the rollers, which are predominantly downhill. And again, I'm just trying to position myself towards the back of the group here, knowing that even if there's going to be any breaks at the front, typically they get covered pretty quickly, or the riders can't hold that break and eventually come back. So I'm having a quick check of my second screen. So just above me you can see I've got a second view, which is like a second Zwift account I have on an old laptop that sits next to me, and I'm basically fan viewing myself to give us a little bit of an aerial view that I can switch across to. Just makes it a little bit more interesting, a bit different to watch rather than just the standard view that you see in front on the screen at the moment. So we've finished our first lap, we're into our second lap, we've got 8 laps to go. And I think everyone's just trying to settle in. Now, I raced this race, Rhino Racing, last week with Cadman Cycling. We had a little bit of a race there, and I noticed the same thing I'm noticing here, which is at the back of the course here, it gets quite slow. Like the power really drops down. It is slightly downhill. You sort of expected it to be a little bit easier, but yeah, I noticed that, you know, really towards the back of that course there, on a few of the laps, it would really just, you know, back right off. And that always leaves a question mark in my mind about what might be going on in the group. Now we're hitting brick lane again for the second climb. Now I've got a featherweight, so I'm just going to fire that off. Again, not put too much effort in. I want to put the least amount of effort in I can and still stay in contact with that front there. And you can sort of see a few of the riders really putting some effort in. There's a few fire trails going off there, and the group's spreading out a little bit. I can't always get the aerial view perfect. And you can see it stretching out. So there's a bit of effort there to kind of get back on, cover the front. And we're already dropping a few riders into the second lap. Mark Fenton's still there, which is good. And the group's coming back together as we hit the rollers again. And that's the thing, you've got to trust the peloton. You know that even if there's a few flyers off the front, typically in C grade they're going to be fairly... either they're not experienced enough, or they don't have the engine to keep that brake going, and you know you're gonna get them back. So I wasn't too worried. I just wanted to sit in, try and be as relaxed as I possibly could, not stress about any breakaways, and get as much draft going as I can. Now my average is sitting at about 86%. I'm wanting that to get higher, closer to 100% if I can. I find that if I can do that, then it makes it just a much more efficient race, and I get to save as many matches as I can for the sprint at the end. Alright, so we're into lap 3, and again we can see that the power is really backing off around the back of the course here. Like I'm sitting at 2.4 watts per kilo, even less now, 1.4 watts per kilo, and I'm really trying hard not to go to the front. So really backing it off. I don't want to sit on the front at all. And I think everyone else has a similar thought or a similar strategy. And when I look back at the lap times for the race, certainly this wasn't a fast race. You know, a lot of the times there, like the first lap was probably our fastest at 2 minutes and 19 seconds, which is 10 seconds slower than my fastest. So we're hitting the climb again. I didn't get a power up in the last lap banner. There's a few featherweights. This one's not too bad. Still, I've got a few guys again pushing off the front, and I don't know why. Like, why would you be doing that for? Just do enough that you can see the front. Sure, I mean, if you're working together with a few other riders, I can see why you do that. Maybe you're all taking turns, trying to burn off as many guys, as many loose ends as you can. And we do. Like you'll see in the Zwift, source for Zwift on the right hand side there of the screen, you've got the group. So there's 12 in this front group here. We're averaging about 2.5 watts per kilo. And you can kind of see, you know, we were up at 19 or 18, I think. We're down to 12 now. The next rider behind us is 21 seconds. That's LE. And then 27 seconds, there's another BG, I think it is, behind us. So you get a sense of where we're at. And I love using Source for Zwift. It's an awesome app. Really helps, especially with understanding where the other riders are. I don't necessarily need to know who they are, because I can sort of see at the bottom of the screen who's sort of around me and what numbers they're putting out. But knowing if there's a breakaway or if there's a group trying to catch us, how far away they are, and seeing that time and how many's in the group is just awesome. If you're not using Source of Zwift, get onto it. It's great. And that's also the information. I've got the top left-hand corner, so I've got power numbers, my current watts per kilo, average watts, and then I've got my heart rate data beneath that, and then the drafting data. And the drafting data is just so important. If you're not using that in racing, are you really racing? And again, yeah, we're back down to into 1.8, 2 watts per kilo around the back of the course. I've got an aero, which is awesome. And I know I'm going to hang on to that for the entire race now, for the remaining 4 laps. There's no way I'm giving that up. So we've still got 12 in the group. Mark's still there. Back of the course is all blue. And I'm just wanting to make sure that, yeah, I'm staying. I can see the front as we come around to the Brick Lane climb. So standing up, don't normally stand up on this one too much. Not for the first 3 or 4 laps anyway, but you know, just want to make sure that there's no sneaky attacks where something sticks. And again, these guys are smacking it off the front there. I've got no idea why. So we're racing Crit City. That's the map. Downtown Dolphins, the route. It's a 1.9 kilometer lap. 8 meters of climbing, so virtually flat. Happiness of 1 out of 5. And in this particular race, we've got the aero, the lightweight feather, and the draft boost. So they're our power-ups for the race. And it's one of those things where, you know, if you get an aero at the start, it sucks a little bit. You got to think about whether you give that up at the start and hopefully get it back again, or do you get the aero, hold on to it, and sort of suffer through the climbs without a featherweight, or the flat sections without the van boost or the draft boost. So I've got the aero. I'm halfway through the race. I don't mind holding on to that now. And I'm just going to watch the other riders, especially on that last lap as it comes around, to see, or the second last lap, to see who's firing what power-ups. So we're 4 laps down, 4 laps to go. Trying to maintain that efficiency as much as possible. Interestingly, I got the 3rd fastest lap time there. Wasn't really aiming for that. But again, just wanting to make sure I'm trying to stay as efficient as possible. Really back it off. You know, I don't want to be at the front. Hopefully towards the back of the pack is where I want to be, for as much as I can. And even just around this little back section, I sort of find myself floating towards the front, and I've really got a soft pedal to keep it going from getting on the front there. My draft average is sitting around 87%. I think my last race I might have had that up about 93, 94%. So I've just noticed that watching the front there, that one of the riders has pushed off the front after that climb. And I'm sort of thinking, oh, that's a bit adventurous. I mean, you've still got 3.5 laps to go. There's still a bit of distance to cover. Like, you've still got 7 kilometers to keep that up for. So he's out to 5 seconds. Thinking, maybe he might have this. And actually, I started thinking, shit, should I actually try and put a dig in and bridge that gap, and maybe the 2 of us can push that front. So he's out to 6 seconds now. I'm thinking, oh, maybe not, maybe not. Oh, no, I'll sit in. Began resigning myself to the fact that I might, 2nd or 3rd might be the best we can do. So he's out to 6 seconds now. He's pushing 3.5 watts per kilo. You can sort of see it in the mini map in the top right hand corner. He's coming up to that bend. Oh, didn't mean that. So he's out to 7 seconds now, and I'm thinking, wow, he could actually have this. We've still got the 6.5 kilometers, just over 3 laps to go. Whether he can make that stick for the entire time, that's the big challenge. And sure, you might think, oh, I can do this, but I can tell you, it's super difficult to maintain that power by yourself and not have the group to kind of rest back into. So he's out to, 8-9 seconds? Still pushing 3 watts per kilo. So I'm thinking, well, he could really do this. But I'm thinking, so I was thinking I actually started to wonder whether I should try and do something. I actually got a little bit worried there. I'm thinking, well, do I try and push off the front now here in the slow spot? Might take a couple of riders with us, see if we can bridge the gap to this other guy, whoever DD is. I couldn't see his name, and see if we can rail him in. Like, he's at the 10 seconds now, and he's still pushing 3.3 watts per kilo. No, trust the peloton. I know what it's like to be at the front. All right, so rider profile, that's me. I'm on the pink Tron. I am wearing my new level 44 Alpine Slope Kit 1, I think it is, on the pink Tron. I've got a ranking of 308. I've only got 13 wins. Hopefully going to make a 14 today. And my FTP is sitting around 265. And of course I've got the Aerodynamics on and the racing glasses. So DD, he's just caught a couple of the back markers, so he's still 11 seconds out. You can see it in the group 3, it's in front of us. And it's coming up Brick Lane. Come around the corner past the Preem banner. That climb wasn't too bad. It was pretty well grouped. There weren't too many flies off the front for that one, and you can see us that we're still all grouped up quite nicely coming around the corner there. So I'm thinking, okay, well, first might be done, but second's definitely on the table. Let's just focus on that. Second's still a great result. As we come into the rollers. And then I noticed that DD is now only 4 seconds ahead. And I think we can just see him up ahead in front of us. I thought, you beauty. He's absolutely smashed himself for a couple of laps. He's burned all his matches. And he did not get one thing for it. So he'll be joining the group momentarily, I think. Hey, just want to say thank you to those that have bought me a coffee so far. Trying to get some funds together to get a custom top printed. So it's about $130 to get that done for a single top. Mark, John, Rob, Andrew, thanks to you guys for your donation so far. If you do want to buy me a coffee, the link's in the description below. Really appreciate it, and I'll give you a shout out in the next video as well. Okay, so DD is still hoping that he can hang out on the front there, I think. 7 seconds, 6 seconds in front of us, but I don't think he will. Too much effort, and you can sort of see his powers dropping to 2.4. It'll only be a matter of time, I think, before he rejoins the group. So we've got about 3.3 kilometers to go. Starting to think about how I'm going to tackle that last lap. I know I'm going to go. I keep telling myself I've got to go at around about the 500 meter mark. Zwift loves a long sprint, is what I've been told over and over again. So I'm thinking I'm gonna drop the hammer midway through the rollers. I usually use either the second last tree or the last tree on the right hand side as my marker to go, and especially if I have the arrow, that's where I'm going. So I'm thinking that's where I'm going to go, but I've got to watch as we come up the top of Brick Lane to see whether anyone else has a similar idea, and maybe they're going to push the front straight after the climb, and see who can go with. And there is DD Ducato. D Ducato. There we go. Say hello. You're back in the group. Yep, so first is back on the table. Excellent. That's what I want. I'm still feeling pretty good at this point. I've used the littlest amount of energy that I can for this entire race. So, sorry to the other guys in the race, but that's just racing, I guess. Alright, so I've got the aero. We're coming around. We're about to start that last lap. I'm going to try and sit towards the back again for this, definitely for the first half of this lap, but I know as soon as we hit Brick Lane, it's going to be on. So coming around. Still got 12 in our group. We've got a couple of riders ahead of us, 9 seconds, so some back markers. You need to be mindful of that too. You don't want to get stuck behind a back marker if you're not pushing, because before you know it, you just get dropped and you're off the back. And especially in this last lap here, you just don't want to have to be burning matches to get back on. So I'm just mindful of that. Making sure that I'm watching for any numbers, any of the groups on the right hand side. You'll see the circle will flash red if someone starts to pump. So I'm watching that. I'm watching the screen to see if there's anyone pushing off the front. We're coming around to Brick Lane for the last time, and I know that this is going to be. I definitely want to be almost on the front for this climb. I don't want to have to be chasing. And you can see a couple of guys have already gone and firing their arrows so early. There's just no way I would have done that. So pushing 8.5 watts per kilo. There's a few guys that are sort of pushing off the front there, but I know I'm pretty confident that we can get them. The group's really stretching out now. You can see them coming around the corner. There's 4 or 5 riders well off the front. So I know I've got to put some effort in here right now to get back into them. And you can see the group is really stretched out. And I definitely you don't want to be the 7th, 8th, 9th rider trying to fight to get back in. You can see me on the pink trong and the pink kit coming back in. I want to sit about 2nd, 3rd or 4th wheel, which is precisely where I'm at. And I want to keep the power up. And it's about, it's about here. That's it. I'm going. I'm firing the arrow. I'm just going to smash this as hard as I can. And hopefully no one comes over the top. And I am worried now. I'm pushing. The finish line feels like it's getting further away. But there's no one coming up. And I'm watching and get it. Man, that was a good one. That was a good win. I was really hoping to get that one, and yeah, I was really happy with that. That was a tough race, and I think I did that pretty well. So I had Zwifty, if you're listening to this, I had you and your comments in my ear the whole entire time. So hopefully that's a bit of a thank you for your help. On some of your racing tips you've given me. Mark, thanks mate. Thanks for joining the race here. It's always good to have another fellow teammate in the mix. So that was a fantastic win. That's probably, if I'm honest, that's probably my second only outright win on Crit City on Downtown Dolphin in maybe 2 or 3 years of racing. Oh, so I was happy to get that last race of the year. So that was pretty good. And I'll just bring up. So there's the Swift Power results. I picked up 10 ranking points, so under the 300 mark now. I'm at 298. I'm happy with that. Rands Tobres, second. Sorry, Madion Drew. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. Was third. Patrick fourth. Dan Ducato fifth. I would love to know how he saw that race. He was pushing 332 watts at a weight of 111 kilos. So, mate, awesome effort. Paul, Robbie, Mark there in 8th. Well done, Mark. Good work, buddy. Hey, it's been great racing with you, by the way, for the year. And hopefully next year is going to be even better. So, yeah, there we go. Win to finish off the year. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone has a great time. Have a safe time. And I'll try and catch you in the next race.